talk about inductive reasoning. You do observations and then you learn from it. You change your beliefs based on what you learn. And so I'm going to assume we have repeated observations of some random variable, something that you're not certain about. And on each observation, one of the possible results it comes out. So each time you observe a result, and I'm going to assume that there can be only finitely many results, to keep it simple today, 1 up to Rs. So S is a natural number, there can be S results, and we keep it finite, but it's important S greater or equal to 3. If S were only 2 or 1, the things I would say the theorem would not hold true. So only 3 or more possible results. And examples of this are, for instance, if you there's an urn containing balls, each having a color, there are 3 or more colors in it, but you don't know the composition, and each time you draw a ball from that urn, that's an example of such a situation. And after all the draws, you update your beliefs. And maybe that drawing can be with replacement. It can also be without replacement. That's 2 different things. Both examples fit. This, of course, very general in statistics is about such things. And, many of us know about decision from experience, experiments. There it is happening, and it's a very general framework as I put it now. It can be in the health domain. Maybe you many patients who at first look the same, you give them a particular treatment, then different outcomes can result. In the beginning you don't know the treatment, but then more and more experience, and you update your beliefs about how good the treatment will be. That's another example. And in decision from experience, it could be maybe if you're a subject in an experiment by either ARF on decision from experience, maybe there's a red button each time you push it, and then the result is the money amount that you get, and one of the possible money amounts each time. And as time proceeds, your beliefs about what money can result from that button is updated. Those are some of the many examples that you can think of. And I'm going to assume at some time point you make T observations. For instance, then you have evidence. The evidence is the observations that you made. For instance, maybe the first time you observed it was R2, then the second time it was R7, and it was R2 again, and then it was R4, and maybe you made a number of observations up to some T in total, in your set of observations. And then the question, how on the basis of this observation do you update your beliefs? What's a rational, good, or maybe a realistic way to do it? We are going to be quite Bayesian today. I am going to assume a normative. It's quite normatively oriented what I present to you. I do assume that at each time point your beliefs are in terms of probabilities. You have subjective probabilities that express your beliefs. So that's quite the Bayesian spirit. I'm assuming that all the time today. So that's how you are updating.
And Peter, do you also assume that each of these draws is independent from each other? Oh, okay.
No, that's a big issue.
Okay.
Much of that to come.
Okay, yeah.
And I hope that I have only a small space. I'm going to erase this, but you can more or less, if that thing allows me. It does. Maybe I can leave it the axioms. I'm going to propose some axioms that are maybe rational or that are appropriate in many situations for your beliefs. And the first is, I call it positive relatedness between the observations. That means if you observe a particular result, then next time your subjective probability of that result has increased, has become strictly bigger. So the results are informative for what happens. There's a positive relation between results. If you did a medical treatment and often it succeeded, only a few times it failed, with every new success, your belief that it will be successful from the next time is increasing. So that already means that they are in that sense not independent. You give information about each other. And mostly positive relatedness is a reasonable condition. For instance, if this is this Ellsberg urn with colors of, and you don't know the composition, and you do drawing with replacement, then if 5 times you saw red and only 1 time black, then your probability of red is getting bigger and bigger. That's if you do drawing with replacement. It is not always reasonable. For instance, if you have the Ellsberg urn and you do drawing without replacement, it might be maybe you draw 5 balls and 4 of them were red. And you think, well, maybe in the beginning there were many red balls, but I took them out. Probably not many left. It could be that then your probability of red is decreasing, depending on context, what you know. It is not always reasonable, but in many situations it is. And I'm going to assume that we are in a situation where this is a reasonable assumption. So that's the first condition. You know, in many situations, everybody says, yeah, good condition. Second condition, it is not independence, not at all, but it's a sort of subjective analog. It's called exchangeability. This means that the order in which you made the observations up to time point t does not matter. If the first treatment was a success and the second was a failure, or it was the other way around, it doesn't matter. The order doesn't matter. That means that only the number of times that each result occurred in the past matters. That is exchangeability. And often it is reasonable, not always. For instance, if you are trading in the financial market and you wonder how a stock is performing, then the recent results are more relevant for the future than the past results, because time is changing. You know, the recent thing is more closer to the present than the past. So then this is not a reasonable assumption. But and also in decision from experience, they study the recency effect, that subjects pay most attention to the results that happened with few last times. Results that happened with observation farther back in time, they don't pay so much attention to. And if we know that people in decision from experience, the experiments are, I think, always doing independent, identically distributed, but only the subject don't know, then we know that the recency effect is not appropriate, but subjects cannot know. Subjects may think it's like the financial market, so in that sense you can't call that irrational. But anyway, there's no recency effect. That's what this condition says. And in many situations, that's if you know the things are not changing over time in a way or so. The process, you know that the process itself is not changing. Only your information about it is a reasonable condition. Anyway, in the situation where it is, that's what we talk about. A third condition that in some situations can be reasonable, I call that disjoint causality. Let me explain what it means. Disjoint causality means that if you are at time point t and you wonder, for instance, for result number 1, what is my subjective my belief that result 1 may happen the next time at time t.1. That depends on the number of times that you observed result 1 in the past. We already saw that the order doesn't matter, only the number. And of course then on the number of times that result 1 did not happen in the past. But for those cases where result 1 did not happen, it does not matter what the other results were. For instance, if this is an Ellsberg urn, and there are a few colors, and you wonder what's the probability that the next draw will give me a red color, then how many times you saw red in the past matters, how many times you did not see red in the past matters. But if it was not red, whether then you observe yellow or black or whatever does not matter. So there's no sort of causal relation or informational relation between the results. Maybe often it's real, but also often it's not reasonable. Maybe if you are in the health domain, and this is about diseases, and maybe there are 2 lung diseases, then maybe if in the past you often observed one lung disease and you did not so often observe the second lung disease, then maybe you think still the next time I treat a patient that the disease will be lung disease. Lung disease nowadays is quite likely because lung disease 1 is also suggesting information making lung disease 2 more likely. So there can be situations which there are all kind of logical relation between these results and all kind of information that you can infer for one as related causally to the other or correlated with or things like that. Then this condition is not reasonable. But in many, I think Ellsberg with colors, if you wonder how likely is a red for the next draw, then whether you saw yellow or black doesn't matter. So if this is sort of quite qualitative, nominal, and it's just all kind of different things, nothing special between them. Maybe you know nothing, then this is a reasonable assumption.
But how does it relate with the first one? Because you said that there is positive relatedness, so if you observe one outcome, we think it's more likely the second next time?
Yeah, so indeed for every result, how itself behaved in the past is very relevant. For the result 1, the more you observe the result 1 in the past, the bigger your belief is that it will happen again.
But then we can think that if this outcome is more likely, then the other outcome should be less likely.
And all the others become equally, proportionally less likely in a way to put. Yes, that's true. So there's only sort of informational between an event and its complements. So if the event is more likely, the complement becomes less likely, but within that complement, nothing really changes. That's roughly the idea. So I think in many situations, these are reasonable conditions. And now I'm going to write a theorem. These axioms axiomatize a way to do your updating of beliefs, a way to do inductive reasoning. And I find I already learned about this theorem when I was a PhD student. It's one of the first things I read, and I found it a beautiful result, and I never changed my mind. So to me, this may be the prettiest axiomatization existing in the literature. It was essentially first obtained, proved by Rudolf Carnap, a very famous philosopher and methodology of science. He's very famous, influential, Wiener Kreis, 1930s. So he did a lot of, very famous for that. But the last years of his life, he worked on inductive reasoning. He proved many theorems like the one I'm going to show you. Let me first show you, write the theorem, and then you can enjoy watching it when I talk. I think that's a better order to do things. The theorem. And the axiom that I wrote. If and only if your updating goes the following way. Now I write here, you're at time point t, right? Your probability of result I coming next time, conditional on the observations, the evidence that you have. And you remember the evidence is what maybe you observe first R2, then R4, and then R7, and then R4 again. Now whatever the T observations are, that's what I denote here. That's the evidence up to that point. So what should your subjective belief be? Well, it's going to be a convex combination of two things. The first entry in the convex combination is the observed relative frequency up to point t. So how many times did you observe I, and how many times did you observe not I, up to the t observation that you have. So here I write, this is the number of times you observe the result I, and the relative frequency up to that point, you have to divide by the total number of observations of t. That's the first ingredient in your convex combination, just the observed the empirical relative frequency.